Happy Wednesday. It's Wednesday, it's the weekend before Thanksgiving, and there's things to be thankful for. I am thankful I'm alive. I'm thankful I am employed. I'm thankful I can pay my bills. Unfortunately, there's people that are not alive that can pay their bills, and we have to talk about something. We're going to have to talk about the Colorado shooting. More more information has come through, and there's now I hinted at this yesterday, but something needs to be done. DAs need to be held responsible. There needs to be a provision in the law to hold a government accountable for when they don't take actions. Now, this is from the New York Times. I skipped through a good bulk of it. Now, of course, everyone asks whenever something like this happens, was there anything that could be done? What can we do to prevent the next mass shooting? And they always go for grab the guns. We must ban the guns. We must take away the ammo. We must take away the guns because there's no place in today's society where someone needs to be armed. It's only for the police and the military to be armed, and that's their only tactic. But that's not the only tactic. That is not the only tactic, and there's enough is enough. And this isn't the only story. This is just the recent story of malfeasance. In the wake of the attack, survivors and their families have focused on whether the suspect family or law enforcement officers could have intervened before the attack or whether Colorado red flag laws could have been used to seize the weapons from the suspect. The answer to that question is yes. But it stems from the DA. The DA refused to charge this POS monster, which we now learn is non-binary, so that takes away the evil right narrative that we're homophobe, transphobe, whatever phobe. But this right here is an excellent question to ask. And this makes me pissed off. As a law-abiding citizen, someone that actually owns weapons, someone who is a responsible gun owner, who has to say it's not the gun's fault, it's not the access to the gun's fault, it's the person behind it, and it's not the current law's fault that sets it up. It's not the NRA. It's not necessarily law enforcement, but a wing of the law enforcement. Law enforcement officials said that the suspect was arrested last year outside of Colorado Springs after the suspect's mother reported being threatened by the suspect about a homemade bomb and other weapons. A news release from El Paso County Sheriff, not El Paso, Texas, but El Paso, Colorado, Sheriff, about the 2021 incident described as a frightening scene with nearby houses evacuated, and said that a negotiation team was used to make an arrest. The suspect was not prosecuted. Why? Why? These are valid questions. Court records involved the threat have been sealed because no charges were made. Colorado has a law saying if no charges were made and there was no trial, any legal documents related to the incident is sealed. I agree with this law, but not with this mechanics right here where the DA refused to press charges because clearly there was a crime. Interviews and public records revealed that the suspect had a troubled childhood marked with frequent moves. The suspect and mother and father divorced when the suspect was less than 2 years old. Each parent had problems with substance abuse and history of arrests. Suspect was born, who cares, but legally changed their name to who cares as a teenager in Baxter County, Texas. Oh, wow. Maybe it was El Paso, Texas. Interesting. Let's see here. The name change was reported earlier by Washington Post. By the time the suspect's father, Aaron Franklin Brink, had been arrested numerous times in California on charges related to drug use, and erratic driving. Court records show that Mr. Bink said in an interview at his home in San Diego that his ex-wife, Laura Valpel, told him years ago that their child had changed their names because they were embarrassed by their father. Mr. Bink said Mr. Valpel later told him that their child had died. Yikes. And that he believed that to be the case until several months ago when Brink and the suspect reconnected by phone. Man, that's pretty messed up. Mr. Brink said the phone call developed into an argument, and at one point the child threatened to beat him up. Yet Mr. Brink said the conversation ended amicably. Ms. Brink, who said who had worked with a pornographic actor, was now a mixed martial arts coach, described himself as a religious and conservative Republican who condemned gun violence. He acknowledged that he had voiced strong disapproval of gay people when the child was younger, and even so, in an interview, Mr. Bink expressed sympathy for the families of the victims in the club shooting. Kind of irrelevant, but who cares? The suspect mother was charged in California with public intoxication in 2008, with driving under the influence, possession of a controlled substance without a valid prescription in 2011. She was placed on 5-year probations in Texas after an episode in 2012 in which, after being admitted to a psychiatric ward in San Antonio Hospital, she set her bed on fire, according to court records. The psychiatric evaluation filed with the court indicated that the mother had struggled throughout her life with mental illness and attempted to reach her for comments were unsuccessful. Court documents indicated that the suspect's been living since a child under the maternal grandparents who listed as a child's dependent as long as 2008. But this right here, in the wake, something needs to change. Enough is enough. Clearly there was a record. Clearly he was known to law enforcement. Clearly he made a threat against SWAT to where they had to have a negotiation come in. And no charges were filed. You didn't see a day in court. And fast forward a few months into this year, almost a year, and he goes on a shooting rampage. Makes me want to ask, why were there no charges back when this happened, back in 2021? I'm being serious. This is going to happen all over, because this is almost the same story with all these mass shootings. I think in Buffalo, New York was the same issue. The child or the kid, whatever, the person was known by law enforcement, and his father straw man purchase and signed off that he was able to be responsible with the gun, ends up shooting the parade. Now there's another shooting that happened in Virginia from a Walmart manager that just went crazy. We don't know much about him. Was he known to law enforcement? I don't know. We're just going to have to wait until more information comes out. So before you come after the guns, before you tell me I'm a monster, that I support killing children because I support the Second Amendment, maybe we need to go to the DAs and ask them why this person right here was not charged for making a domestic threat against their grandparents. Why was he not charged? Why was he not put in prison? Why was red flag laws not enacted? Because Colorado has red flag laws. Now I get where he's at. It's a sanctuary city for Second Amendment, but that's no excuse. There's no excuse for charges to be dropped. There's no excuse for the family member to petition the court to remove his guns. According to the radio, he said that he wanted to be a mass shooter or the next mass killer. And that's what triggered him threatening his grandmother, having SWAT called in, but yet he gets to walk free and do this horrendous act. Now, I'm not ragging on SWAT. I'm not ragging on the negotiator. I'm ragging on the district attorney that failed to do their job and didn't prosecute this kid when they had a chance. And now, was it 6 people, 4 people? I don't know. Several people are dead, 18 are wounded, and it shouldn't have to be this way if we actually had DAs to do their job. I don't know. Leave a comment down below on what your thoughts are. With that being said, have yourself an awesome Thanksgiving. And hopefully, with my break from YouTube and work, I could remove this fog of, I don't know, there's just a fog over me. I'm not in a very good, not in a bad place, just not in a good place, head-wise. But hopefully the sun will come out and I'll feel better. Anyways, but still, have yourself an awesome Thanksgiving. And I'll probably have a video Monday.